Hey, you want to see something really scary?
What's your favorite scary movie?
I'm gonna scare the hell out of you.
What was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
When there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk here.
What's blood for, if not for shedding?
Welcome to Fright Night.
Welcome back to Jumpscare. I'm Betty.
And I'm Shad.
This week we're discussing In a Violent Nature.
Animals don't get too hung up on reason. They just keep killing.
We had the honor and pleasure of attending the Overlook Film Festival back in April, and this is the first film that we were able to catch.
Yep.
The Chris Nash, the director
Slash writer,
and two of the producers,
which was Shannon Hanmer and Peter Kaplowski,
were in attendance. There was a Q&A after.
Someone else was there. You left out.
Who else was there? Oh, yes. Mr. In the Violent Nature himself was also in attendance.
Yes, Mr. I believe his name is Rye Barrett. He was in attendance. He also was randomly roaming around the streets of New Orleans in the full costume. And the best part was, no one seemed to care.
It was very hot, so I don't know how he did it or how long he did it for. Unfortunately, we were indoors, so we were unable to see him roaming around. What they did have was wanted posters for him all over the area where the film festival was held and in the Britannia Theater.
Yeah. And
let me tell you that it is... I love when there's detail in like the mask. I love to see a good old mask.
Yeah.
Like a different take on just...
The slashers have got to have some new masks, you know?
Yeah, you gotta... And he was doing this before the strangers were roaming around.
Yeah.
For that revisioning or whatever the hell, this terrible movie that came out recently.
But like I said, what I think I love so much about it is that no one in New Orleans seemed that disturbed or upset by it. He was just roaming the streets in that outfit, and they were like, "What's up? You want a beignet?" And just went on with their life.
That's exactly what happened. That was
like the Star Trek movie where they dressed in the outfits and they had them walking around San Francisco and no one gave a shit. They were just like, "Oh yeah, okay." And just went on with their life. No one really paid them that much attention.
Yeah, well, the mask is kind of a customized 19th century smoke mask, which I think is pretty cool, and it's very creepy. They had to customize it because the actual, like, authentic one was too bulbous, and it didn't work out, so...
It's just probably kind of hard to walk around in. Probably hard to keep in frame, too.
Yeah, and it's fucking massive. It's like a big bobblehead, so it's not gonna
I'm picturing one of those, like, I know this is not it, but I'm picturing one of those diving suits with the big metal thing with the, like, the glass door with the bars across it. I'm picturing like that. Which, why has no one done that?
That's because it's too hard to see out of. And it's very Bioshock.
Yeah, I guess so.
Bioshocky mask. No, I'm not saying that's why no one has ever done it. I'm just saying I could imagine it's too huge, you know. How could you run after someone with such a thing? He is not running in the film. Johnny, who is the killer, is not running. He is just gracefully walking through the forest and whatever, the Canadian countryside.
Listen, he takes the whole Pepe Le Pew killer thing to a whole new level. He is just walking casually in behind while all these people are running like crazy. If this movie had been a track team, he would have been out of luck, because they would have been down the road and gone long before he even got halfway to the camp.
So this, I haven't decided. This is going to have spoilers and non-spoilers. It's spoiled alert. There you go. Spoil.
There's going to be some spoilers. We're not going to spoil the... we're going to say that there's some amazing kills in this movie, but we're not going to spoil what they are, but we may spoil some other plot details of it. But I don't know that other than the kills, that anything that goes on in this movie you can really spoil, because you basically get the idea of it just by seeing the trailer.
Oh, so the trailer played prior to us starting the podcast, right? Or somewhere in the beginning of our
right
podcast?
At the beginning, after we introduced the movie, it's when I always drop it in.
You hear the trailer, that is the whole movie. And I am not fucking with you. So it is the first ASMR film ever made. And if that's not your thing, this movie is not for you. This movie is not going to be for a lot of people. I had a lot of, I don't want to say high hopes. The same thing that happened with Antrim assholes, perk up the ears. This is the same thing happened with this. There's a lot of like discussion. I think even in Verity, like .com, they had a whole article on this and how this is like revolutionizing horror, and it's deconstructed horror of the deconstructed slasher film and blah 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 blah. A lot of people, including the people that viewed the film with us in the same theater, made a comment how this was kind of similar to the Friday the 13th game that came out. But Chris Nash shut that down immediately and said, I do not play games. I've never played that game. I do not know of any game. This is not a game. But some other people that worked on the film were gamers. And this has a very gamer feel, because it's just literally Johnny, the vengeful spirit that comes back after his 60-year hiatus for revenge, comes back, and he's just walking along, and you hear the crunch of the grass and the bees and the butterflies. That's how like clear the fucking sound is. You can hear the wings of a butterfly flapping. Okay, you're hearing all of that. The stream.
If you told me they were going to give the guy that did the sound for this an Oscar, I'd be like, all right, that's fair.
Yes, give this person an Oscar, because the sound was fucking impeccable. And hilariously, actually, the person that introduced the film and introduced the director and the producers did state that you would feel this at the end of the film. The viewer would feel very relaxed, because it could put you to sleep. And now he didn't mean it like it was boring. It's just so much sound and ASMR that's something that literally a lot of people just put in the background when they want to relax or go to sleep.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect film. This is going into our perfect films to put on in the background during a party.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of them. Hands down. Oh, go ahead.
Because I was going to say, so many, almost every slasher movie that's out there is so tied in with its soundtrack. Like when you hear the first couple of notes of the Halloween theme, Michael Myers.
Yes.
Same thing with Jason. When you hear the little Jason's coming. You hear Nightmare on Elm Street's theme, that Freddy's coming.
So in this one, when you hear butterfly wings flapping in the wind and you hear streams and crunchy grass, Johnny is coming for you, because he does not have, as you pointed out, after we watched the film, he does not have his own soundtrack. He does
there's
not.
no soundtrack.
There's no
score. It's just the sounds.
I think there might be like one song that's played during like when the kids
that's not really like that's when people are just listening to the songs on the radio and the thing. It's not like there's an actual score. Or, that might be on like the soundtrack to it that they eventually might release someday, just to be like, it'd be hilarious if they release the soundtrack and it's like just the audio tracks of him walking through the woods like that, and then the like 3 songs that people were playing on radios or car radios that you heard.
Yes, that actually be very hilarious. And please do this. Zygoid Films, Low Sky Films, all of y'all, Low Sky Productions, any of the production companies.
Yeah, do this album and just do it with the sounds of him walking, where you could put those on loop. That would be hilarious.
I'm not gonna lie, I'd probably buy that. I would buy that.
That'd be really good. Put on, hey, here's the soundtrack to In the Violet Nature, and people are like, when does it start? It's already over.
And then like random screams. The kills. Now, we did talk to some of the other attendees. When after the films that we watched, and then while we were waiting in line, and hey, did you catch this and did you catch that? And I remember someone saying that this film was, well, they didn't like it, but that they couldn't deal with the whole ASMR thing. It wasn't for them. They were just bored by it. But then also that the kills were lazy. And I was like, really? They were lazy? I disagreed. I don't think the kills were lazy at all. There is one kill in particular, is a kill you have never seen in the history of kills.
Yeah, it's pretty intense. It's one of those ones that's only possible through a combination of practical and CGI. And actually, we listened to, when they were talking afterwards, they do some amazing kills in this movie. Hands down, this has some of the best, murders that you will see on screen. And they are done so well that the CGI they use was seamless.
It is.
You would not know that where the practical and the CGI begin. They're just merged together flawlessly, and so much so that like people are like, oh my god. Like there's one in particular that when it's happening, people are like, how the hell are they doing that?
Yeah,
because it looked so good.
Yeah, one guy in the audience said it was like magic. Yeah,
it was. They pulled off some miracles with the kills. It was amazing. The problem is that, and like you said, this would be a great movie to put on in the background when you just got a bunch of people over and you're talking. Put this on and let's play a game of slash cards or something like that while it's going on in the background, because it'd be great for that, because you don't have to pay a lot of attention, because there is virtually no character development in this movie. There's a few people that get involved in the amulet is accidentally picked up from its resting place that holds Johnny underground. They take it away, and then Johnny is just following them to get the amulet back and killing everyone in his path. And that's it. He's just going to try and find this amulet, and he kills everyone that gets in his way. And that's great. Like I said, when you're looking in the background, you're like, oh my god, did you see that? That was fucking crazy how he killed that guy. But in terms of actual like plot, character, there isn't really any.
I mean, yes and no. There isn't character development. There is some to some extent, but it's not your typical. And that's where the whole deconstruction or like whatever comes into play. It's not your typical slasher. It's not about the people involved. It's literally just about Johnny walking around, killing some people. And, I felt like it was a classic story in a sense of this whole thing starts where the people that are the friends have got together to like hang out in the woods for the weekend happen to stumble upon like some weird broken down shack, and there just happens to be this gold locket just hanging literally like on a thread,
Yeah, it's like a stick hanging out of the ground. Yeah. This like locket sticking out. I think it's silver actually.
Well, whatever. It's a locket. And he pulls it off, and mind you, this is like first person, so you don't really see the person.
You just see the hand take it off and walk away, and then up from the ground comes Johnny.
Yes. So when that happened, of course, I had to look over to Shad and say, please don't tell me this whole movie's about a guy that just wants his like necklace back. But that's literally what it is. He wants his necklace back.
Insert the Morgan Freeman voice here. Spoiler alert, he did want the necklace back.
And now that's all tied into like the backstory of Johnny. They do the classic, let's sit around the campfire and tell the creepy tale of the White Pine slaughter that occurred, and all these, the story of Johnny and the revenge and why that, how he came to be and whatnot. And all the while there's Johnny, like, what's crazy? Ever feel like someone watching you and you like got a turn? No one felt this. Everyone in the camp, and I'm like, they weren't like, I don't remember them doing drugs at that scene. They were drinking, but I don't think anyone was like insanely drunk. They were just normal. No one felt there was like a creepy guy.
No one noticed at all, or
felt
like
just there was an entity, like somebody, like
nobody got that
around.
Creepy feeling at all. They were all just going on with their business. And also, I was kind of surprised that they didn't do a whole thing where he just busted into the middle of the group and just started killing people either.
No, this is after he's awakened. He walked a long way. I feel like he was a little tired after he's been like at rest for like 60 years, and he tired. And also, this is his first time he's ever seen people in a long time. I think he was just like, oh, people, yes, walking around doing things, okay. And he was just taking a breather.
He didn't really see who had the necklace. So if he jumped in and killed everybody right then he's going to have to search like 7 or 8 bodies for it. So that's
and then we don't have a movie.
Yeah, it's a lot of time.
We don't have any more scenes of him walking. In the Q&A that happened after the film, Chris Nash and Peter, the producer, one of the producers, discussed how many reshoots, like the percentage of reshoots for this film was an insanely high number. They settled at 60%, which is a lot, but you can see that the editing of the film, and it may just be me, but there was a lot of jump cuts. But the jump cut, it wasn't like it throws you out of it. It did for me because I noticed like, okay, there was a little blip there. That was an edit. Now we're in and then the time is passing, so it's like, okay, the sun is in this direction, the lighting is here, and now it's further in the day, the sun is there, like, or now, I've walked and I'm walking and I'm in, a wooded area, but now I'm by a stream, that kind of thing. So you can definitely, it's not seamless, like it's one take, which obviously it's not going to be one take, but I felt like there was a better way to like edit the walking.
I wonder if they had thought about it at one point doing like a one take thing. Maybe that's where some of the reshoots came in, because I could see where this would be the kind of thing where you'd go, hey, let's do it all in one shot.
Yeah, Johnny hurt his leg. He got slightly injured.
Yeah.
Ray Barrett, the actor, got slightly injured during the film because, he was walking a lot.
Yeah.
So, and then he was like, I think towards like the end of the film, I think he said he was like limping, like you can see, but then you could chalk it up to like, okay, he'd been fighting, a lot of people. He got pretty messed up, so that makes sense why he would be doing that.
Yeah, also he's walked like 40 miles, so maybe his undead feet are tired.
Ooh, you know what I would like to see this as? When I go to the gym on the treadmill, there's like a screen. There's different screens you can choose. You can choose like the Eiffel Tower or like Mount Everest. I would like to choose this, and like I'm like walking behind him. Just visually, that'd be really cool.
That'd be fun.
Like, how many miles did I walk? I don't know, Johnny. How many miles did we walk together?
1.4 miles. Burned 600 calories. Killed 8 people.
Classic.
And this is kind of the problem with, you don't really get a sense of like what Johnny was. in a little bit, with Michael Myers and the rest of them, you get a little bit of sense of, like, with Michael Myers, you get, like, okay, he's like a blank, crazy sociopath. There's nothing about him. You didn't really get a sense of, like, who Johnny was, why he was out doing all this exactly.
He wanted his necklace back.
Well, I understand the necklace part, but I'm saying, like...
But he was undead just like Jason. There's a lot of Friday the 13th comparisons. Like,
Yeah.
you can just... He was a Friday the 13th after he comes back from the dead. So that's Johnny. So he's an undead, vengeful spirit.
Yeah, I got that.
Yeah, but you want to, like, you want more. Like, you want to know.
He just didn't have a lot of personality.
Yeah. I mean, he was dead for a long time. I don't know what kind of personality he was going to have. I'm just joshing you. That would be really funny, though. Like, but yeah, he doesn't talk. He doesn't even moan. He does nothing but walk. I mean, he's
where they don't really focus a lot, like, on him, like, showing him from the front or anything like that.
They don't. Yeah.
It becomes a lot of, like, even with Jason, you kind of got, like, body language that would show you, like, okay, he's frustrated, he's he's annoyed the guy got a chainsaw out, and he's like, this guy, he kind of, like, would do a little shrug and grab the bigger chainsaw.
Yeah.
But you don't really see that much with him. He's just, like you said, just walking through the woods killing people. So it's hard to have, I mean, obviously no sympathy towards him, but yeah, you just want a little bit more personality to put out.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Michael Myers has this little, like, tilting of the head. He does this little weird things. He's popping up, here and there. He does things. You want him to do. He just walks, and he just walks, and he really wants this necklace, and that's his drive. And he's tired of these damn kids on his damn lawn. The whole lawn is the whole forest. That's his lawn.
Just coming back and just littering, doing their drugs, having their sex. They steal the necklaces. So
it's funny you should say littering, because at the beginning of the film, when he goes back to, like, I'm going to assume was his house, like his family's house, right? Because he's looking for the locket. And then they do a lot of, like, there's, like, over discussions of, like, a memory of, like, his dad or whatever fighting with the mom. I don't know if you remember that. And they're talking about the locket or whatever. And the mom gives him the locket, and it's like, this is to remember me by, blah, blah, blah. That whole thing, the interaction between the two gentlemen that are there was about, like, littering and, like, keeping that area clean and everything. I thought he was like Captain, like, Planet, where he was pissed off. That's what at first I thought this is where this is going. He's tired of people coming into his, like, protected, like, forest area and throwing garbage and being assholes, and he's gonna take revenge.
He's gonna be a really vengeful Smokey the Bear, Woodsy the Owl kind of thing.
Exactly.
But yeah, the house, I didn't get that it was his family's house necessarily. Like, I think that was just the house for that weirdo that lived on the edge of the woods. He was there, and he was putting traps and doing other things, and the park ranger was like, look, man, you can't be doing this, because one of these days you're going to cause some problems out there. He's kind of hinting, like, later on we find out, of course, he knows about Johnny being out there in the woods, and he was trying to discourage the guy from going in there because he didn't want him to accidentally set Johnny free. Which, of course, you've got random, young people to come through and do that. You don't need the old guy that lives out there.
Yeah, because it's all going to be the young people that are going to fuck it up. Yeah.
Darn kids.
The ranger, see, there's a little bit of, like, story there, because, like, the ranger, like, remembered when he was a kid the whole incident that happened when he had come back, and how the ranger's dad is the one that put Johnny to rest, and did the whole locket thing and trapped him down there. And
so he came back, this happened 60 years ago, but a few years later he came back, so he's popped back up from the grave a few times.
Yeah, but my thing was, like, why would you put the locket, like, literally on, like, a rotting piece of fucking, like, pipe wood or whatever the fuck it was, for everybody to see? Also, that shit is rotting. It was gonna fall down eventually. It was the worst placement.
You just put the necklace around his neck. hence it's called a necklace. And then just bury him under the ground.
Very the Friday the 13th style.
Yeah, bury him and pour concrete all over him and let that be that.
Because then we wouldn't have a movie.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is. Yeah, I give this film...
There's a great Stephen King story where at the end of the story, it's the one called Doom McKee.
Oh,
where
Doom McKee, yes.
They trap the little spirit thing. It's like a haunted doll. They put it inside a silver tube, seal it, wrap it up in concrete, and drop it into like a lake that has like a 700-foot depth. Drop it to the bottom of the lake, sealed up so that no one can find it. I'm like, okay, if you can't destroy it, I guess you trapped it in silver and concrete and threw it as far away from humanity as you can get it. I'm like, that's fine. At least, I like it when they do those little touches in stories where it's like they thought about, like, I want to make sure no one's going to find this and fuck with it again.
Yeah.
But go ahead, you were going to rate the movie?
I was going to rate the movie 1.5 knives.
I was going to give it 2 knives because it does, in a way, it does what it sets out to do. It accomplishes it. It's just there to be cool kills and a little bit of character development. So in that, it succeeds. It comes across. It doesn't like reinvent the genre. It doesn't do anything special for it. It just takes away. If you took Friday the 13th, like one of the ones with Jason, we'll say like part 2. If you just took away the soundtrack and took away most of the scenes with the kids and that, and you just had the scenes where Jason pops up and kills, and then the rest of it is him going from one scene to the other to arrange the next murder, that's what you would have.
Yep.
So in a way, like I said, it sets a goal, it meets it, and goes on, so I can't be too mad at it because it said right off the bat, this is what we're going to do, and they did it.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, I don't necessarily expect, like, none of these older movies, they didn't have tons of character development. And we were like, oh, so this is why this woman likes to have sex in the woods. She had father issues. No, we didn't really get into that. But there was at least a couple of the characters that went through some development, and you got to know them and figure out what was going on. And it wasn't as the movies got, more and more popular and they were doing further sequels down the road that it just became about, let's see Jason kill, let's see Freddy kill,
Yeah.
And this one, I feel like they skipped over the first, 5 parts and went straight to the 6th part, where it's like, it's all about Johnny. Johnny's just coming back to kill people, and we want to see cool kills from Johnny. It's like, okay, but you kind of have to have the first few movies to lead up to that. But
they just skipped over it.
They skipped over all that part and went straight to the part where we're going to do the crazy kills. So, like I said, I can't be too mad at it. I'm going to give it 2 knives. It would be fun to put on at a party. This would be a great one to put on. Like I said, if you're playing a horror trivia game, put this on. Every little bit, you stop the game and watch him do some cool kills, and then go back to playing your game.
Yeah. Okay. You gave it 2 knives. I was waiting to be convinced to give it 2 knives as well. Not that you were trying to convince me to bring up my knife system, but I guess you're right. You get what they sought out to do.
You get what you pay for with this.
I'd rather watch this than that new Strangers movie. I don't care who you put in there, okay? I don't care about the girl from Riverdale, whatever.
Are you
actor.
going to say Ravendale? Because we need to make that show right now, because Ravendale sounds like an amazing show.
Okay, so not to, go on a complete, just jump off the path of what we're doing, but this is what's going to happen now. So we're watching Pretty Little Liars Summer School on Max, and it's very good. And I'm showing what we're doing right now. We may or may not be embarrassed later, or may be made fun of, but we're enjoying it. And in the little Pretty Little Liars thing, there's a Ravenwood, a town called Ravenwood. So literally that's what I have, Pretty Little Liars on the mind. So I just started thinking about Ravenwood, which was a spinoff that failed terribly. I don't even think they even finished the season. I think it's like 5 episodes, but it didn't do well. So so that's where my mind was. So yes, going back to the film, that's what you got. I'd rather watch this any day than any revisioning, remake, that's coming out. Like the new Black Christmas, I'd rather watch this than that. The Strangers movies, I'd rather watch it in Violent Nature than that movie. So, you know, and also, I think it's very cool just to have on, just to see him walking. And it was relaxing. Like, did I at some point, mind you, this was a midnight showing, and we had a long day beforehand. So I may or may not have closed my eyes and taken a little nap at some point because nothing was happening, because I wasn't going to miss out because he was just walking. It wasn't like, you know, Bugs Bunny was going to pop out of the fucking tree and try to like taunt him, and then he was going to go trying to shoot Bugs Bunny, you know, which I feel like that would have been very comical and hilarious. But that's just my wacky mind being wacky.
I saw where he's just carrying the gun for a second. You see in the trailer, and he just throws it down like, "Yeah, I don't need this."
Yeah, he, you know, the actor himself. Seeing the actor live, it's crazy when you see him on film because he looks massive. I mean, they shot it in a way where he just looks so much bigger than he does in real life. And not that the guy is like small in real life. He's just not as big as portrayed.
Yeah, by the time they put the costume on, the makeup, the costume.
Yeah, the freaking head alone. Like,
the shoes that, you know, be walking around in for all this, yeah.
I can't even imagine how much everything weighed, and for the long periods of time that he was walking, like, what that did to his body.
Yeah. So like I said, it does its job. It's just, I just would like a little bit more from it. I feel like if you had edited down a few of the parts of him walking around, cut that down a little bit, and replace that with a little bit more, you know, seeing the people that you need to be sympathizing with.
Yeah.
Then it would have been a much better movie, and it would have gone up in my estimation. I don't hate it, but I don't love it either.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, it's a solid, like, C movie.
Yeah, but the movie is not about the kids, so there's not going to be any of that.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just saying it needed to be a little bit more, you know, compromised a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's the whole like, wow, this is fresh and new. Like, we're not going to be thinking about these kids. They're just fucking cannon fodder. Kill them all. Like, they're just there, you know, kind of thing. So, I mean, for that, it did accomplish that. I'm always the one that's like, we need more character development, but I understand like what they were trying to accomplish and did accomplish, because like you said, you could care less about anybody that died. Actually, this is a kind of film where I was rooting for the people to die. I know it sounds really terrible, but some of those people were just so annoying and they did stupid shit, and it's just like, yeah, you should just die. I'm waiting to see how you're going to be killed.
Yeah, the Grim Reaper's coming for you, and we were all waiting here to see it.
Yeah, it's just like, tick-tock, bitch. Like, your time is up. Check out In a Violent Nature in theaters starting May 31st, and will be streaming and Shudder later on this year. Stay tuned to the horror.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.